Hey guys, this is Anne Marie, the anti-HR HR lady, and I wanted to do a video where I talk a little bit more with you about how human resources uses a company's budget process or helps management use a company's budget process to get rid of employees who raise discrimination claims. This is something that a lot of employees don't know about, but you should be aware of because this could happen to you or it may have happened to you and you don't recognize it. And it is a form of retaliation, so be aware. So first, who am I? I'm Anne Marie. I am a former human resources executive and manager and director. I oversaw human resources at multiple companies over the last 20 plus years. I'm also a licensed attorney, and I am the founder of the AntiHR HR consultancy, where I provide employee-focused human resources advice and support to help employees understand their workplace rights and exercise them. I also help employees navigate their way through and out of discriminatory, hostile work environments, in many cases with a separation with severance, aka their coins. So if that's of interest to you, make sure you're following me across social media as the anti-HR HR lady, and make sure you are subscribed to my website and my YouTube channel, where I share advice, tips, blogs, etc., from an employee perspective with employee-focused HR information and tips. Now, let's talk a little bit about how companies, through human resources, use the layoff process to get rid of employees that raise claims of discrimination, and how they use this process to retaliate against employees, and they often get away with it. It's an HR loophole that's used a lot and people don't know about it. So oftentimes someone may raise concerns about discrimination at work. They may go to human resources and complain. Human resources will open up an investigation and always come back and say they didn't find any discrimination. This is a common thing. I explained in another video, which if you're watching this on YouTube, I will link in this video, that explains why human resource investigations are never good news for you as an employee. So human resources may launch an investigation, and they may even find proof of your claim. They may find that what you're saying is true. They will never tell you as an employee that they found discrimination. They will always say they didn't find any, right? And I explained that in the video. But what happens when you go to human resources and you raise these issues, even after they open up an investigation and they come back and, of course, clear themselves and the company of any wrongdoing, is now they're aware of you. They're aware of you, and now you are a problem, quote or unquote. And so if at the same time the company is considering doing layoffs or employee reductions of any kind, and as I explained in a previous video, often the way that a lot of companies balance their books because they're poorly managed is by just cutting people. Whether it's annually or quarterly, they'll cut people to help them balance their books. And what often will happen is there will be conversations in management. I know these conversations take place because I have been in the room in multiple companies when they did, as a human resources person. And managers will say who they consider to be problems and that they want to get rid of those people as a part of the layoff process. And so if you think that they don't consider you and target you to get rid of you through that process, where they can legitimately claim that the cut has nothing to do with your claim and that it's just a financial decision and that they just decided to cut you along with other people, it's not true. Oftentimes, they will select people that they consider a problem and include them in the layoff. Why? Because management generally decides who gets cut. Finance may decide how many people have to get cut, but management and human resources get to decide who gets cut. And so if you are not liked because you complained about the workplace, you may find yourself amongst the groups of people that get laid off. And more likely than not, they're not going to negotiate with you about how much you're going to get because it's part of a larger layoff. So you're in a situation where it will be harder for you to prove retaliation because they're including you in a layoff with, hundreds or even sometimes thousands of people. And they won't negotiate the terms because from their perspective, if they change your terms, they would have to change terms with everybody. And so they can argue that this has nothing to do with discrimination claim you brought 5 months ago or 3 months ago or last year. This is just about a layoff. And so many employees get screwed just this way without realizing that, in fact, their employer is retaliating against them and getting rid of them through the layoff process, right? Because it's an easy loophole that many employers use to get rid of people and then shield themselves from a claim of retaliation, right? Because it's really hard for employee to prove that it is retaliation when it's done as a part of a layoff. So what I say to employees is, when you raise these issues in HR, you need to be raising them with an intent to leave and to get them to pay you to go at the time you raise the concern, rather than just raising it and going away. Because while you may not be thinking about it anymore, they still are thinking about you. And if they need to lay people off later, more likely than not, your name will be on the list, right? If in the interim they haven't already started harassing you, retaliating you, doing other things to try to get you to quit. If a layoff is coming up, they will put you on that list and lay you off. So the way to get around this is to have a strategy when you go to HR, a strategy that includes how you are going to proactively remove yourself from that situation by making your employer and HR pay you to leave the company rather than waiting to see what they choose to do later down the road, right? So I just want you guys to be aware that this is something that happens, and it happens quite often. And I really don't hear anyone on the HR side talk about it, but I'm not here to protect HR and to keep any of these things a secret. I think employees need to know that these things happen, these conversations do happen, so that you can understand that when you have these concerns, if you've properly documented them, you recognize it as discrimination, you document it, you go to HR and you raise it, the next step after that needs to be you moving forward with effectively requesting to be separated with pay and then negotiating how much they should pay you, right? But do not sit back and believe that because they come back with an investigation outcome that says there's no problem, that you should just let it go. Because that investigation thing is bullshit. I just want to be frank. No matter what they find out in those investigations, they will never tell you as an employee that they found wrongdoing, because to do so exposes them to liability, right? So they're never going to tell you that they found wrongdoing. They're going to come back and tell you, oh, everything, there's no discrimination, whatever. And you may think, oh, that's the end of it. But it very well may not be the end of it in terms of you ending up on a layoff list later. So I hope this video is helpful. I hope this information is helpful. If you are in a work environment that you believe is engaging in discrimination, please visit my website, the AntiHR, hrlady.com. That is AntiHR is one word, -hrlady.com. And either sign up for a discovery call or immediately enroll in my online course where I teach you how to leave a discriminatory, hostile workplace with cash and how to get your employer to pay you to go. So if this has been helpful, I hope you will hit the like and subscribe button if you're watching this on YouTube. And I hope that you will continue to follow me on social media. As I always say, HR is not your enemy, but they're definitely not your friend, but I am. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.